Welcome to the Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Haynes, with my wife, Savannah Haynes. If you're new to the podcast, we are really documenting our journey in both co-founding separate businesses, mine a B2B business, hers a B2C. If you haven't seen that before or you don't know anything about us, we have 2 separate videos about our story and how we started our businesses and kind of where they are now. So welcome.
Welcome. We've got our 4th son here with us.
Yes.
just to explain the little grunts and noises that you might hear throughout the episode.
Yeah, our ultimate goal is authenticity and to document and just to not preach to you, but to tell you kind of what we're thinking about or what we've seen or what we've learned. Ultimately, we wish that we had this content when we were, or before we started our businesses, 5, 6, 7 years ago when I knew I wanted to start a business and I had kids. That was just such a top of mind thing that I just wish anyone else had some content around to show like it's doable. And a lot of people do it, and here's how. And so that's kind of the point of today's episode, right?
Yeah. Jump into what our last 2 days of work have looked like. Because I think in the beginning, one of the things we talked about was like, what's one of my biggest questions would have been is how are they doing it? What does that look like in real life? And we want to talk about what yesterday looked like and what today looks like. I guess we'll just jump in.
Yeah, so if you don't follow us on the Entrepreneur Podcast Instagram, it's at Entrepreneur Podcast. It's PARENTRENEUR and then podcast. So check us out on Instagram. We posted this picture yesterday in kind of answering the question of what does it look like to run 2 separate businesses with 4 kids. So we gave a little bit of a glimpse of what that looked like. 6:50 a.m., boys are up, whether or not we're ready. 7 a.m., dad's on breakfast duty with 3 older boys as they come downstairs. Coffee is a non-negotiable. 7:45, mom joins us with the baby and family breakfast begins. The little guy gets absolutely swarmed by his big brothers. Pure chaos and so much love. 8:15, dad takes baby duty so mom can get ready for her day. Then 8:45 to 12, dad gets most of his focused work hours in the office. Mom takes everyone on a morning walk and then works in the living room in little spurts with baby napping on and off. The ultimate multitask, while tending to the boys as well. 12 o'clock, quick lunch break and family reset. 12:30, dad handles nap time for our second youngest. 1 to 4:15, back to work for dad. Mom gets a good nap from the baby on her and works a little more focused while the big boys get some wee playtime until the 2-year-old wakes up, which is oftentimes way too soon.
Yes, his naps have gotten really short when you're not laying with him.
Yep. 4:15 to 5 o'clock, mom gets her golden hour of uninterrupted work while dad takes all 4 boys. 5 o'clock, dinner prep begins. Pro tip, your chaotically curious 2.5-year-old can't possibly end up in timeout if you strap him to your back while cooking.
This is in a baby carrier. Go look at the post.
Yes. And I actually loved it, by the way. It was quite fun, but my back was definitely killing me. 6 to 7:30, family time and light chores. Mom to laundry, boys to clean up their plates and table and stuff in the yard. 7:30, tag team bedtime. Dad handles the 3 older boys, mom lays down with the baby. 8:45, dad tackles kitchen cleanup and late night work session. We wrote a little bit more under this, kind of our what we think about it. So not every day looks like this. We pivot, we adapt, we take on whatever the day throws at us. Some days are smoother, some are complete mayhem. But here's what we've learned. Entrepreneurship is chaotic, and parenthood has prepared us well for exactly that kind of chaos. We've mastered the art of working in stolen moments, making decisions quickly, and rolling with the punches. Our kids have taught us resilience, creativity, and how to find opportunity in the midst of beautiful disorder. And even though we're passing children and responsibilities back and forth all day, we're honored we get to have this much time with our boys while we work. Sure, there are days when we question our sanity, when the baby's crying during a client call, when the 2.5-year-old decides the living room is his personal jungle gym, while mom's trying to focus, or when dad's quick 15-minute task, quote unquote, gets interrupted 6 times by snack requests. But at the end of the day, we're building something meaningful while being present for the moments that matter most. Our boys are watching us pursue our dreams, problem solve on the fly, and show up for each other as a team. That's the kind of legacy we want to leave with them.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that one of the reasons that we want to share all the details, I'm glad you timestamped everything for that one day, is because we don't have magical easy babies that you can like lay down on a bouncer beside you while you work and just go about your day. Like, we have the kind of babies that require that they be attached to us for everything we do. So we're bed sharing family, co-sleeping, we are contact napping, the things that you would think make running a business impossible because you can't put your baby down. It's like, oh, well, they must have, baby who naps in a crib and like sleeps through the night. And that is so far from the truth.
Yeah. So
I think getting a glimpse into how we're doing it, like, it's not an excuse, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, oh, well, like that's if you don't have a business, you haven't started a business, I think those are kind of the excuses you put in your mind of they must have it this way or they must have it that way. It's not like my situation, but I feel like our situation is about as, clingy as it gets.
Yeah.
As far as, none of our kids have slept anywhere but on me. And when we transition them from me to you to work them into the bed with their brothers, like they have to be with somebody, which is biologically normal. That's a topic to put in Truly Crunchy magazine one day.
Exactly.
But we love it, but it could be an excuse, but it's not.
Yeah.
And so, that was the timestamps. Like, essentially any time that it said I was working, it's because he's napping on me. And so I'm sitting in a chair in the living room and I've got a little, TV dinner tray as my desk with a laptop open on it and the remote and, water. That's all I can fit on my little tray. And that's how I work. Like, and I do want to say with these examples, this is a heavier work season for me. My work gets really heavy at the end of the quarter because the magazine layout goes to print about a month before it launches. And so I have a lot of work to do near the end of each quarter. So my days don't always look like this with this heavy of a workload, but right now I'm using every spare moment that I have to get more done. And
going back to what we're talking about with kind of excuses, I think for anyone who might be following us, that I don't want it to seem like we are people who are all about the grind set, all about the hustle, and that's what we post about. Like, we're not in any way those types of people, and we don't want our content necessarily to reflect that. But it is important because it has been something that I feel passionate to say, because again, this is documenting, this is not preaching. But if we can inspire anybody, the biggest thing that's holding you back is yourself. And that's very cliche, but it's entirely true that most of your excuses don't matter. And that right now is probably a better time than ever. In fact, it's probably just going to get worse and harder to do it later on. And the only thing stopping most people from having a successful business is just doing it. It's just going out and committing to it. I think business is kind of like marriage, where most businesses could thrive and sustain if people just committed to it. I think over a long enough time horizon and iterations that almost any business could work out. If you just keep iterating and keep adapting from your original idea, and you just give it a long enough time horizon, you can float yourself along for a long enough period. I think most ideas will shake out into a profitable business idea. And maybe I'm pissing someone off, and I don't mean to offend anyone who's had marriage troubles or divorce, but I personally believe that most marriages can figure it out. And I think the number one, any, right, violence,
major circumstances,
and
abuse,
and I'm throwing myself out there on a limb to be like, I might offend someone, and I'm sorry if that's the case, and that's my opinion, and so be it. But I think that I truly believe that most marriages could, the fundamental foundation of a marriage is commitment. There's no out. There's absolutely no out, because you make decisions differently when you recognize that there's no out here for either one. And even if you have in the back of your mind, you're going to make decisions differently. You're going to act differently. You're going to treat that person differently in marriage if you feel like you have an out when things get hard. Yeah. And I think it's the same with business. If you have an out, or you're kind of doing this haphazardly, and you're like, well, this is kind of like my little side thing, but you don't give it seriousness, and you don't just put all your chips into it. And I'm not mentioning, as I have before, I'm not saying that you should go out and be flippant as you have children and stuff and risk everything, but you can still commit to something without putting all your chips in. You can still commit your effort and energy and focus into something without being risky. And I think that's just what it takes for most people, is just getting out of your own way enough to just commit to the thing. And that's what we're doing here with this podcast, is just committing to it. We have 2 active listeners, I feel like. So hey, everybody, one of which is my mom. I don't know, she listens to us actually. But all that to say, we enjoy this, and even if it's just for us documenting, cool, so be it.
But if you have an out with business, like you're saying, you make decisions differently, you treat it differently, you view it differently. Yeah, it's true. That's a good point. I haven't thought of it that way.
A little tangential, because we're talking about time management, right? Is what we're talking about today. But again, that's kind of the point of this podcast, is just for us to talk about what's going on in our lives during that time. And right now, it's the most eye-opening thing for anyone starting a business out there is recognizing that your competition sucks. And if you just find an opportunity and iterate and commit yourself to it, it will become profitable. Because the bar really is that low. There's a lot of big bloated companies out there. There are a lot of small shops that have been around for a while that, don't do things like you do. They don't have your edge, or they're stuck. They're lazy. There's just so much opportunity in every industry, even if it's super crowded. And if you just commit and you just iterate, I think really any idea could work out. Yeah. So, in regards to time management.
Yeah. Back to days in our life. So the first example we gave was a somewhat typical, nothing is the exact same for us. That's why we say not every day looks like this, because he's not guaranteed to wake up at the same time every day, and that actually sets our day off on kind of a different trajectory depending on when he wakes up. But the idea was that it was mostly a 9 to 4 work day for you, essentially. And then, I did my multitasking, working in between, things with the kids. But then today, Friday mornings are my work mornings. I get that each week, whether it's a busy season or not. And so this morning, everybody woke up early, right? Yeah. Super early wake up. He woke up at 6:30, which usually the baby will go back to sleep if he does that, but he didn't. He was wide-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. So we all got up early. I actually did a shower. I took a shower 7 a.m. And then we did breakfast around 7:30, right? Mm-hmm. And then I had a little more time to get ready because I had to nurse him right after the shower, so that it was back to kind of a little bit of getting ready time for me. And then it was my morning to work. So I did some work on our layout. Our deadline's coming up on Monday. And then I had an marketing ads meeting after that, which you came back and joined us for, while the boys played upstairs in their room. So I had,
which is scary.
Yes, it is. It is quite scary. Just hearing noises,
hearing knocks on the wall, and
yeah,
screams. You can't tell if it's crying or can't tell if it's laughing.
Yeah, monitor's always on for those, and we try to keep it brief, but yes, it is a little bit scary. Our firstborn is quite responsible, so he tries to keep everybody in line. And then our thirdborn is Mr. Wildman, and he's usually causing the screaming.
Yeah.
So baby was sleeping on me, I think, for that meeting. And then, yeah, the other kids were upstairs, and then you were in your office, and I was in our room for that meeting. And then I got a little more work done, and then it was lunchtime. So we did family lunch together. Then it was nap time for our thirdborn, our 2-year-old. So you took him up for nap, which you do his naps now. Since we've had our fourth baby, you do all of his naps.
Mm-hmm. This is today's?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You want to have the juxtaposition between yesterday and today?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you put him down for a nap, and then you came down to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. I believe I was trying to get some more work done, but if our baby's not napping, it's really hard for me to work because he doesn't let me just sit. I can't sit and do things. I kind of have to be moving around. So I think I gave up on working at that point. And just kind of, yeah, did regular mom and kids things. Mm-hmm. I can't even remember what all we did today. And then around 5, you got off a little after 5. Then we did dinner, played with friends tonight. I had the baby at home. You took the older boys to our neighbor's house for some s'mores and play. And then we came back. Oh, I did do the dishes. Our baby did lay in a bouncer for like 10 minutes. Yeah, just long enough for me to empty the sink. But there was still more to be done. So again, everything in this season is tag teaming. It is truly just back and forth.
It makes you wonder if friends and neighbors are like, man, I never see them together. I hope they're okay. Because legitimately, like, we're out and about in our neighborhood with friends, but we're hardly ever together. Right?
It's usually kind of, hey, you do this while I do that.
Mm-hmm. It's necessity.
In this season,
like, yeah,
we have a newborn, and he doesn't get put down. And we've been here, and we know it passes and it ends, but we're in that season again. And so we take our time when we can get it. Usually it's at night after we've done all the things.
Yeah, by the way, we record this when it's like 9 and 10 o'clock. After the dishes are done and the kids are down, and we've hung out for a little bit. And so just know that this isn't our peak mental state. So just bear with us.
We can't find words or talk slowly.
Yeah. Man, I feel it. I feel like I'd be a different energy if it wasn't the whole day behind us.
Yeah. That's true. That's okay, though. Yeah. Again, we're showing up authentically. We're here. We're doing it. Then it was
it's just 2
bedtime,
different days,
and then
now
you finished up the dishes that I wasn't able to get to, and then we hung out for a little bit, chatted about what we want to talk about tonight, and now we're here. So every day looks different. We have a rhythm, but we don't have a hard schedule. And that was one of the things that we were talking about is necessary for entrepreneurship and owning businesses with children, is that you have to have some structure. You have to have priorities straight, but you also can't hold on to them so tightly that if the schedule gets thrown off at all, which it will with children, it always does, never fails. Their schedules are constantly ebbing and flowing. And so as long as it doesn't completely throw you off, that's why rhythm works better than a schedule, is what I like to say.
Yeah, I think that's a great recalibration for what it is. Because it's you might be in trouble if you go directly from like a 9 to 5 into maybe even just a startup, not even your own business, because like it's just you're doing everything all the time, and you feel like you're kind of on your own, and you're not getting support that you need. And you're sitting at your desk 8 hours a day, but you feel like you're not really productive. I feel like entrepreneurship has made me so productive because, like I mentioned a few videos ago, it has forced me to prioritize so hard on what matters. Like my to-do list was, 3 or 4 things, but I got them all done, and they're all really big things. And I feel really good about the day because I was so focused on exactly what I needed to do. And I also had like 3 or 4 meetings within like 4 hours.
Right. Yeah. And entrepreneurship and parenthood though too, because you can't just work till 8 p.m. if you want to, to finish up that list and grind, it's like you have a family waiting on you. And if I can't put the baby down to get something in the oven, then like we can't eat until you're off to get dinner started. Oh, that was another tag teaming thing. You got dinner started and then you took the boys outside, and then I finished up dinner and like had it ready. It's like, it's just a constant.
Pray dinner wasn't burned. That you forgot. Not that you would forget about it, but I didn't set a timer.
That was almost really offensive. But yeah, you have to be teammates. Whether just one of us had a business or both of us have businesses.
Yeah.
We have to be teammates. We have to be willing to pick up where the other left off and just pivot, because it's constant pivoting.
Yeah. Again, business relates so well in marriage and parenthood. It's crazy. But another point now in marriage of how close entrepreneurship and marriage kind of operate is we have a traditional marriage, but maybe to some it may not seem like it. Like I do the dishes every night. I cook all of our breakfasts and most of our dinners. Is that what the ideal is? No. Is like, and that's not a discount to you because you do different things and you're tied down with a baby, like in child rearing and I think
don't call it tied down.
Yeah. You are preoccupied.
Yes. But yeah, I breastfeed. So when he needs to nurse, I'm not able to do much else.
And what I'm saying around that is we do whatever it takes to get the stuff done.
Right.
Even if I'm not like kicking my feet up. I'm like, well, that's your job because you're a woman.
Yeah.
Or, that I don't feel like you're saying that it's my job because I'm a man. Maybe they're cycling the Amazon boxes. That's just an unspoken rule. But that's what entrepreneurship's about as well. It's just you have to do whatever it takes to get stuff done, and you can't say like, well, I can't do that or I won't do that. It's like it doesn't matter. And part of the reason why we can do our jobs too is like shout out to our co-founders. We have co-founders that balance us. Yeah. Like I bring things into the business and my co-founder relieves things out of the business. Like that's literally, and we have some crossover in between. Mm-hmm. Same for you in Sydney, right? It's like you focus on creative and marketing and things to do to push the business along, and she focuses on
photo shoots,
moving it along
and she progressing,
or making sure that it keeps going.
Yeah.
And that's not to be understated. And I have a whole another episode I want to do about partnerships because I feel like everyone, including my mentors, most of my mentors say like, don't get involved in a partnership. And that's one of the only few things I disagree with most mentors on. Because a good co-founder that you trust, like for everything, you could trust like life or death, your life with, and family well-being. Like me and Adam, we trust each other with our wives, our families. Like we trust in complete, like wholeness. Like there's nothing. He knows I would never screw him, and I know he wouldn't screw me. Yeah. And I'm sure there's
unfortunately it's rare.
It is rare.
But if you have enough discernment, then you can know when it's a good
you can't be naive.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when it does work, like the balance is so beautiful. Yeah. It's so helpful and it's so
It's not so you don't get frustrated or there's not tension or anything, but it's again like parenthood. Two people doing things that of whatever it takes for something bigger than them. And that's what you're doing, is like you're just doing whatever it takes to serve your customers, to do the right thing, and to grow a business, and to make employees happy, and you get the best people on board and lead them well. Like, it is beyond yourself. And it takes putting your pride aside to do the things you don't want to do, or just things that have to get done.
Yeah.
At the beginning, you know?
Yeah. Like, in my ideal world, yeah, I do want to eventually do most of the cooking, at least of our dinners. I'd love to have breakfast made when the boys, you know, before they come downstairs.
We both desire that. Yes, let's go into that. Like, this is not what we desire necessarily, for me to like take on more of the chores and stuff. Like, you'd rather have me be either available or working, as would I. But that's just the season for what it is, and that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe explain a little bit more of like what would that look like if it were different? Ideal.
Just kind of the ideal. I mean, for me, it's being able to be up and having some time before the boys are awake. I think that our mornings feel super tight because I can't do anything until our baby has woken up. But if when we're in a season when they are sleeping more, when he's sleeping more independently of me, I can wake up before the kids are awake and get some of the stuff done that doesn't involve them, like getting ready. Right now, you have to take the baby for 30 minutes, and I try to squish in whatever I need to do for myself in 30 minutes, like for the entire day. And so, ideally, I'm doing that before anybody's even awake. And then starting breakfast. One thing that we have noticed is that our family, like our day, feels less chaotic when we're already up before the kids. Like, if they're coming to us and like getting us up, it already feels a little chaotic. But when we're up and kind of going, they come down, they're like, oh, like, let's just fall into this rhythm. So that's definitely the ideal for the mornings. And I enjoy, I don't know if I enjoy cooking, but I enjoy like making things for you guys, for our family. Like, I desire to do that. And the more I'm in the kitchen, the quicker I get. So one of the reasons that Jake does do dinner, even before we had him, when I was pregnant as well, is because we're super hungry by 5 o'clock, and Jake is just faster than me. I'm slow, and like, we recognize that. And we're like, okay, if you're going to cook it faster, then just go ahead and do it. But as we have more space, I want to cook more, because the only way to get faster is to do it more often. Maybe I might always be slow in the kitchen. Maybe. That's what we think. I can be slow in many areas of life.
You're very methodical, and I appreciate that.
I think maybe I get lost in thought as I'm doing things, and like, I'm just
a maniacal madman, rushing through everything all the time.
Chop your fingers sometimes. It shows.
That's grating. It's the cheese grater. No, it's the cheese grater and like peeler that always get me.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Peelers always get me.
Yes. So ideally I would love to take over the cooking again, but right now it's most of the time sometimes when it works out beautifully, like tonight. He was happy that our baby was happy, and you got to take him outside, and then I did get to kind of finish up and do all that, and I really enjoyed it, but it just doesn't work like that usually.
It's a roll of the dice, and that's why you have to hold everything with open hands around plans and around schedule. It's just, you got to take it for what it is. And you're right, you have to build kind of a rhythm, and in that rhythm, it's less about complete time structure than it is about priorities. And within the rhythm, you have to have priorities. And that's how you stay on track, because again, like I talked before, what moves the business forward. And you do the things that move the business forward that are tangible. A lot of you, many of us who work desk jobs, like, there's a lot of stuff when you work for a corporation, even a small business, that's just completely a waste of time. Absolutely waste of time. We're doing because for like nonsense compliance reasons. We're doing meetings that could have been summarized in emails. We're having conversations that last too long. We have people distracting us. We have rah meetings with our team. Like, all that doesn't matter. It doesn't move forward the business. Once you get into entrepreneurship, you begin to see I can articulate very quickly, even if I only have 3 or 4 hours like today. I know what I need to go and do, and I sit down and do it.
Yeah.
I got to send this email to this person, got to progress this deal, got to send out this invoice. I need to talk to this person. I have 3 meetings. I had 3 hours of meetings and still was able to do a few other projects, knock a few other projects out in between. That's because I already had my day like prioritized. I knew what I needed to do that would make the business money or make our customers happier. That's like all that you care about at the end of the day is those 2 things, because that's really all that matters. And I think the trap for those who are entrepreneurs, and when I first launched the business or the first iteration of the business, I remember it's just so chaotic and it's like really defeating because nothing's really tangible yet. You're not getting a lot of good feedback. You're not bringing in revenue yet. And so you're just kind of on your own trying to figure out what you need to do. Who do you need to talk to? How do you get this thing off the ground? And I remember like it was easy to fill your day with things that felt like you were doing something productive, listening to something or watching something or researching. But unless you're watching something or researching something, unless it's like moving the business forward with the thing you're trying to do, like you're trying to learn a skill, it's like a degree, you know what I mean? Like degrees are only good for the things that the skills, the tangible skills that it can give you that you can have utility in the workforce. If it doesn't do that at all, then it's nothing. It's not a real degree. It doesn't give you anything. It doesn't give you any marketable skills. It didn't teach you anything. And it's the same thing with what we fill our time with as business owners. If it doesn't help make the business money or help make our customers happier, then what is it for? It's usually to make us feel busy and like we are doing something.
Yeah. I don't feel like I really have that luxury. I don't think I ever have, because my business has been entirely built in my margins. And all I can do is what actually has to get done.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that's expectations we would set is just expect it's not really going to have structure, but to build more of a flow, like a rhythm, and just have priorities, know what moves the business forward. And I think that those will keep you sane and moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And able to pivot when needed. Because again, pivoting happens a lot in parenthood.
Yeah.
And entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Also realized too, we didn't say this in the Instagram post, but we don't have a nanny or a babysitter right now.
Oh, I meant to make a note of that. Yes.
We do not have a nanny. We never have had a nanny. And we've had babysitters sporadically, usually like once a week, just for like 3 or 4 hours to give you more time to work last year. But we've just lost them because the boys are too crazy and scare them off.
Stop. She got a hosting job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Words are hard. Well, anything else about the day in, day out, nitty gritty, like what our days look like? I'm sure we could, if this hits with our, handful of listeners,
five.
2. Let us know, because we can do more day in the life. Because again, it pivots and changes so often that we can talk about more of like what a specific day looked like, or we can do that more on Instagram. But
yeah. It's a really interesting question to ask. It's not a very interesting answer.
I think it's interesting. And in fact, even though I'm doing it and sharing it and putting it out there, I would still like to see other people's day in their life. Like, what did your day look like in parenting and business running?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is interesting.
Maybe I'm just nosy.
Yeah, maybe you are. It's not tangible necessarily. It's not like
to me, I think it is, because it could give me ideas on like, oh, I see how they did that. Maybe we could try that or implement that.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I didn't think about that, but you're right. Yeah, you're trying to help people understand more where those margins lie, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't put your baby down. So then what do? Well, you get a nursing pillow and you get a TV tray table.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody hasn't thought of that, and they also have a Velcro baby.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's really it, though. You shift with the day.
Yeah.
And when you have limited margins and children, like you just figure out what your priorities are, where your margins are, and then you fit it into it. And if you have any additional things you have to get done, you carve out more time. And here we are. Or you wake up earlier if you're a morning person. And that's really it.
Yeah. One thing that I really do want to mention is that when you're working in margins and you're kind of on again, off again with work, it's really important to stay present when you're off. You know, even if it does switch on and off throughout the day, I think the moments when you're not doing a task because the kids are needing you is to actually not do a task and to truly be present. And I'm saying this to both of us as well.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a muscle that you constantly have to flex and
To
train.
ourselves. This is something we're actively still learning and implementing.
Yeah. Is that, you know, when work time is not going to happen, when I hit a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not able to focus, I'm not getting anything done, close the laptop and engage with the boys and say, okay, what are we doing right now? Because clearly they need my attention. They need some connection. So work is just not going to get done because it's going to fall apart if I continue to not connect in those moments. So, you know, intentionally, okay, let's go outside on a walk again. Or, all right, let's go upstairs and, you know, see what we can play with up there and just really kind of reconnect. And then once those cups are filled, then it's like, okay, hey, I got to step back to this work for, you know, 20 minutes or however long you think you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the challenging part, right? I mean, some days it's filled with more TV than what we wanted, just to keep the kids in one spot while we're trying to both do things.
Ideal TV time to me is very, very slim. But also I understand that there's balance, and when we have a newborn, that TV time goes up, and I wrestle with that a lot. But also I come to a place of surrender where it's like, okay, we are using this as a tool right now, but we're still going to be intentional with it. What we watch, turning it off when we don't need it, or I don't know if we ever need it, but when we're past the point where we feel like we need it, and just using it as a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was saying, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
We're not perfect. There's more TV time some days, most days, than what we wish, what we'd ideally like. There's times where, you know, there's a lot of crying and timeouts and us getting frustrated. We admit all that.
Yeah.
But the point is, we don't have our kids in daycare. We don't have them with a nanny or a babysitter. Like, they're here, they're around us.
Yeah.
And so
that's an important value to us.
Right. It's important to us. And you derailed my thought for a second.
Sorry.
But we're here and we're present. And that's what's most important to us, you know, is that's the value, that's the challenge and the great thing about work-life balance, quote unquote, of like work from home, is we're here, we're present, we have the blessing to work from our laptop around our children. But the problem is you also have your laptop and phone around your children.
Right.
And so you have to figure out ways to engage with them and to not get caught into always be looking at your phone, because it will draw you, whether it be personally or business, into something. And so you have to build some kind of structure or keep each other accountable to engage when the time's over. And it has to be a hard line, because if not, it'll just constantly draw you back in.
Yeah.
And for those people who are like me, who can't sometimes get out of it, because the thing about a commute that's kind of nice is like you get to sit and decompress and really process things, and then you get home. And there's that buffer where I walk into my office and there's children immediately.
Daddy!
Which I'm honored.
You get
but my
the
head's
welcome.
swimming.
Yeah.
Because like today you're texting me like, you need to be done. And it's like, there's a child crying and then there's a kid going to timeout and there's neighbors knocking on our door, which again, all are blessings. But I come out and my head is swimming because I just came off 3 hours of meetings and emails and contracts. And I haven't disconnected. I haven't even been able to process it fully yet. And I'm already going into that. So it is difficult. It's really hard to flip that off especially if you're a person who is conscientious and obsessive like I am at times. And you just kind of have to put the notes in your phone and kind of just move on. That's the only way to kind of tame the beast is go, all right, I'm going to put it in my phone. I'm going to get to it later. And then if it's still getting at me and I either feel like it is time sensitive or I just need to get it done with, then I'll come back to my computer when everybody's happy and I'll knock it out. Like the other night, where I was really excited about an iteration of our business, like something we've been looking forward to for a long time. And I was just so fired up that I couldn't stop. So by the time that the boys were asleep and everyone was good, you went to bed. I worked from like 8:30 to 11 and it was great. I enjoyed it and I was able to have some meaningful work time and it didn't take away from anybody.
Yeah.
Because I know where it belongs. And I think that's the important part.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
My last point around that was like, you can't have 10 and 12 hour days when you need it without sacrificing family time.
Yeah.
You can, like, it's just you're going to have to carve something else out and it's just a trade-off, but you just have to understand what you're willing to trade. And it definitely shouldn't be your kids or connection with your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be.
And I was going to say, I was going to compliment you. I admire that about you for recognizing that and just the ability to ebb and flow with the responsibilities as well. I feel like I just hear so many stories of women complaining that, their husband just plays video games all the time and they have to do literally everything, and which is just crazy to me.
Which I do play video games, okay.
But you don't take it away from family time ever.
That
or
I could never understand, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I'm just really thankful that I chose somebody that I knew, was going to take equal parts and also ebb and flow. In some seasons you have more, in some seasons I have more, as far as like household duties go. And, it's not lost on me that not everybody has that, and it makes a huge difference. So thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it starts with the beginning of our relationship where our lives look very different than what we first imagined, but at the same time, all the ingredients are there.
Yeah.
Like from even before we started dating and we were friends, like we would talk about how we both want to start businesses and we maybe wanted to be personal trainers. I wanted to own a gym. She wanted to be a personal trainer. And
we wanted to end up in like a couple of the same cities one day.
Yeah. And
we had the same vision for like a future home.
Which has changed.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like all of our visions lined up, which was a huge part of me knowing that we were going to work out, like that we were going to end up together. And because they all lined up and they've all changed so much. Again, like you're saying, the ingredients are there, but with how they've changed and morphed, they've always changed together.
Yeah.
We've taken those visions and we've changed them together and not allowed anything to be like, oh, well, I want this and he wants that. So that must mean that like, this isn't going to work out anymore.
Exactly.
It's
getting past the superficial.
Yeah. It's
and getting to the underlying, like, what does that actually mean?
Right.
And for us, it's like, we wanted to somewhat do our own things but you wanted to be a mom and I wanted to be dad and we wanted to do those things early and we wanted to get married young. So all those things were like important. But again, going back to what I said at the beginning, we have the commitment there.
Yeah.
That we're going to see through it thick and thin and we can build a picture of the future together.
Yeah.
And I
We
think
just
those are the
celebrated
two
8
things.
years together.
Yes.
What is this, June? So last month.
But that's a big part, is commitment and building a future together.
Yeah.
And because people change and they grow, and you have to grow independently and then grow together. And if you have something that's keeping you moving forward, especially for anyone who's not religious or doesn't have faith binding you, like at least have a common good, a common goal for how you want the world to look, or at least your family unit.
Yeah.
I think, and that's why in this channel we want to talk to not only entrepreneurs but even, you know, the other spouses who support it, because it is we're all moving in the same direction, and you wouldn't have the things you have without me, and I sure as heck wouldn't have the things I have without you. And it's because we've supported one another in just doing whatever it takes. And I think that's a great way to end it, is like, yeah, just do whatever it takes. And ultimately, if you have someone who supports you through that, like, it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for anyone who doesn't feel that way about their spouse.
Yeah. Agreed.
This has been the Parentpreneur Podcast. Thanks for watching.